As the South African Communist Party heads to its 5th Special National Congress, political analysts are warning that the party's decision to contest local government elections poses a serious threat to the ANC after its recent electoral slump. The decision also raises questions as to whether SACP deployees in cabinet should retain their posts, while former President Jacob Zuma lost his membership of the party for contesting the ANC. Delegates at the SACP's Congress will decide how the Communist Party can contest elections independently while also retaining its position in the tripartite alliance. For more on this, or someone who's been keeping an eye on the story, is our own Juniour Khumalo, who joins me now in the studio. Well, sure, they've put a cat among pigeons, Solima Paila, the leader of the SACP in particular. I mean, given the performance of the SACP, where previously it decided to go it alone, it doesn't have a particularly spectacular record.
Indeed. The only time in the recent future that the SACP has contested elections was when they took part in the by-elections in Metsimaholo in the Free State. This was December 2017. And they performed dismally there, to say by the list. They got about 6.8% of the electoral support. But what was significant there is that they took about 15% of the ANC's support. And at the end of the day, the ANC was forced to go into coalition with the SACP, putting in place their first mayor, the SACP's first mayor at the time. So they do have a bit of support. Now they've decided that they want to go it alone because they're unhappy about a lot of things. They have been calling on the ANC to reconfigure the alliance so that they get a better voice within that tripartite alliance, and that has never happened.
Are they smelling blood, given the, the less than ideal performance of the ANC in the May 29 election, which would be a bit opportunistic? And I've had people accusing them of sort of hanging on to the coattails of the ANC, never really doing anything on their own. What does the ANC, SACP leadership have to say around that particular criticism?
Indeed, a lot of people have criticized them for basically taking advantage of the ANC at its weakest stage, but also some people have also abandon it. Indeed, yeah. And some people have also criticized the SACP for being unhappy for not getting leadership positions, cabinet positions after the May elections. We know that the ANC had to go into coalition partnership, so they didn't have enough positions basically to give around. So the SACP secretary right now, Solima Paila, did not get that position. Usually, we've seen the secretary of the SACP getting a cabinet position when it comes to Blade Nzimande. He has received that position. But the question that the ANC has been asked is that given that this party has decided to challenge the ANC, will the ANC then take action against some of the SACP leaders that are currently in cabinet? And this is what the ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula had to say about this yesterday.
As much as members of the ANC are members of the SACP, they are here on their own name and right. So we are not going to remove anyone because of their membership of the SACP. We're not going to do that. It will be apolitical, it will be in principle, unprincipled position.
Indeed, that is the secretary of the ANC basically saying that it will not be a principled position to remove some of these individuals because some of the SACP members are also ANC members. So removing them won't be principled. But one political analyst that we spoke to has raised questions around this, saying we've seen the former President Jacob Zuma basically being removed and expelled from the ANC for campaigning against the ANC. And should the SACP's Congress that starts tomorrow then resolve that it is going to contest the elections, then it will be doing the very same thing that Jacob Zuma was expelled for. Let's take a listen to that political analyst.
If it is correct for the ANC to expel Jacob Zuma because he's leading another political party, which I think most people would say it is, you can't have a situation in which you're in two parties at once, well then why is it acceptable for SACP people to remain within the ANC if they're contesting against the ANC? So I think that issue is going to come up. I think at the very least you're going to have people saying, well, but these people are holding office in the cabinet. They're holding office in the NEC of the ANC, and yet they're campaigning against the ANC.
Curiously, the person who will be leading the ANC delegation into this SACP gathering is the deputy president of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, and not the president. But that is May. What else are we expecting to come out of this gathering?
Indeed, yesterday it was confirmed by the secretary of the ANC that the deputy president will be leading that delegation. I'm guessing it's to protect the president from either being booed by some of those delegates. We've seen the ANC going to the Kolosatu elective conference in 2022 where they sent their chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, and he was booed off stage basically when there was those fightings around the public sector negotiations. But when it comes to the ANC, the SACP Congress that's going to be taking place, we do expect that part of that gathering will also talk about the manifesto for the SACP, since it is now going to go into those local government elections. From some of the discussion documents that we've seen, they are talking about basing their campaign on some of the issues that include the basic income grant that has been proposed by the ANC, and they haven't really implemented it. They're also going to challenge some of those cuts when it comes to the public sector wages as well. So those are the discussions that we do expect the SACP delegates at that Congress to also speak about.
Juniour Khumalo going to have a very busy week with the SACP, but also with the EFF Selective Conference. We have the MK Party also having its first birthday. We have the ANC discussing what to do with provinces like KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Lots and lots coming up. Juniour Khumalo and the team really having a very busy couple of weeks ahead.